So for this demonstration video, we're going to be going through the steps of processing your film. You'll load your film in the film loading room in this light, tight tank, and then you'll begin the processing procedure. So the first thing you want to do when you come out is to measure your developer. This is the first chemical that goes in our tank to process our film, and it's called the film developer. We have a big tank here, which is the first tank that you might use if there is no chemistry in the used film developer tank. So to fill our tank for 2 rolls of film, we need 600 milliliters of developer. So we'll go over to our film developer tank and measure 600. So there you see that we have 600 milliliters of chemistry. We will now take the temperature of the developer. The temperature of the developer is very important to determining the processing time. So this is the kind of instant read thermometer we use. We can put that in there. And while that's reading the temperature, we can start the first step, which is to pre-wet our film. The pre-wet is just water, and what we're going to do is fill the tank. You're only going to take off the orange lid. The orange lid is for chemistry, but you want to keep the other lid on. So we're just going to tilt the tank at an angle. This allows the chemistry to go in a little easier. And you want the temperature of the water for the pre-wet to be within 5 degrees, either hotter or colder than the temperature of your developer. So I'm going to start my timer over here for 1 minute. You can also use a timer, your watch, or your phone. And we're going to agitate the tank. So agitation is a gentle movement of the tank, tipping it once to its side and then once to the front. And for the pre-wet, we're going to agitate for 1 minute. So let's pretend 1 minute has passed, and then we are going to dump the water in down the drain. So now I have my temperature of the developer. It's at 70 degrees. I will try to show you this, 70 degrees. We will now view our time and temperature chart over here to find out what development time we should use. So the kind of film I'm using is Ilford HP5, right here. And if we go over in this row, 10 minutes corresponds to 68 degrees, 9 minutes corresponds to 70 degrees, which is where we're at. So that tells us our development time is 9 minutes. So when we're ready, we will pour our developer into the tank. And start the timer, set it for 9 minutes, and start agitating. So the first 30 seconds will be constant agitation. And it looks like I have a tank that's a little leaky, so I'm going to make sure that I'm over my sink. So we're about at 30 seconds on the timer. When I reach 30 seconds, I'm going to tap my tank and let it sit for an additional 30 seconds. Then I'm going to continue agitating for 5 seconds of every 30 seconds for the whole development time. So when I reach back up to 0 on my timer here, then I'm going to agitate for about 5 seconds, which is about 2 or 3 inversions. Then I will tap the tank and let it rest until my timer comes back to the 30. Then I will agitate again, 2 to 3 inversions, and tap and rest. And you'll continue that for the whole development time. When we reach the end of our development time, the last 15 seconds, then we're going to begin pouring the developer back in the tank. So depending on where you got your film developer, whether it came from the big one or the second one, will dictate where you pour it. If it came from the first one, you're going to pour it into the tank that's labeled Used Film Developer. So that's where I'm going to pour mine. Now, if you originally started with your chemistry, your developer chemistry, out of the used developer tank, then that's going to go down the drain. Okay, so we're able to use our developer more than once. I forgot to mention that you may wish to wear some gloves while you work, especially if you have sensitive skin or have a leaky tank, like my leaky tank. All right, so the next step is going to be stop bath. So that's going to also get 600 milliliters of chemistry. That's 600 again. Pour that into my tank. And agitate again. So agitation for stop bath is 1 minute. We're going to do 30 seconds agitation and then tap and let it rest. Okay. I'm not doing the full 30 seconds right now, but you will do a full minute. When you're done, you want to carefully choose which canister you pour your chemistry back in, that it matches the chemical. So this is stop bath. It's going back into the stop bath. The next step for our film is fixer. So fixer is really important because it makes the film not sensitive to light anymore. So again, we're going to measure 600 milliliters. And hold our tank at an angle. Pour in the chemistry and agitate. So the fixer is like the developer. You're going to agitate for the first 30 seconds, and then you're going to tap and let it rest for 30 seconds. After that, you'll continue agitating 5 seconds of every 30-second interval. So after 30 seconds have passed, I'm going to give it a couple immersions and then let it rest. And our total fixer time is 5 minutes. So you'll continue that pattern of agitation for 5 minutes. When 5 minutes is up, the fixer, again, is something that we save and reuse. So we'll put it back in the fixer. Now that your film has been in the fixer for 5 minutes, it is no longer sensitive to light. So for the pre-wash step, we can open up our tank. You see I have my reels inside. And then turn on the water. And we're just going to fill the tank up and rinse it 5 times. 1. Make sure it fills all the way up. 2, and continue to do this 5 times total. Okay. After the fixer, we will put our lid back on. And fill our tank with fix remover. So we'll measure 600. Okay. And then that will go into our tank again. And the fix remover is a total time of 2 minutes. So again, we're going to agitate for the first 30 seconds, nice and steady and slow. We're going to tap, let it rest, and then continue at 5 seconds of every 30-second interval. When that time is up, again, it goes back in the fix remover tank. The next step is the final wash. It's called the final wash, but it's not the final step. We have 2 more steps left. Final wash is 5 minutes with a constant flow of water. You can either use our archival film washer, which looks like this, oops, and fills up with water and empties automatically. So to do that, you put the film in and turn on the water. Another thing that you can do if the film washer is busy is just to use a running hose for 5 minutes. Okay. After the final wash, your film will go in the last step, which is the wetting agent. And you don't need the lid on for the wetting agent. You can come over here and fill up your tank. The wetting agent allows your film to dry without water spots. So you don't want to agitate or mix it. You're just going to let it sit still. The last step is going to be to hang your film for drying. So you'll bring it over to the film dryer, and you will use 1 PEC pad, okay, only 1 per roll of film, and you want to get that out with dry hands. Then you're going to gently break open your film reel, and your film will be wet. I'm doing this example with a dry roll, but then you will fold the PEC pad over the film and swipe the moisture off. 1 or 2 swipes will be enough. Then you will clip the film at the top and hang with a clothespin at the bottom in the drying